Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VIII. Last time we begun our adventure and we talked to a bunch of people and kind of hemmed and hawed and moved around and didn't really accomplish all that much. This time we're going to accomplish quite a bit more. However, first things first, the Garden Square, the final option here, was the area I was thinking of that provided a little bit more information. I believe this might update over time. But these are the ones that we have right now. It's basically like a suggestion box, and you can put whatever little piece of information there. And of course, the Treppies are fighting amongst each other. And then Zoo, or Shu, I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to pronounce that name, but it's a character that will come in later on in the game and is a character of authority, so that kind of makes sense. Now, there are some abbreviations here. J.I. I think I was looking this up on the wiki a number of months back, and I don't think it actually means anything. Almasi, or Almsey, or however you're supposed to pronounce that, is actually the last name of Cypher, which would explain, well, it hasn't really been established yet. I'll wait till that to happen, but yeah. We just get a little bit of background information. Now, there is one set of initials here that actually does pertain to a character later on in the game. In fact, we've already seen said character. That would be ZD, or ZD. We'll find out who that is sooner or later. Person's always worried about the hot dogs. But yeah, there's just a little bit of banter between some of the students here. And that's pretty much all there is for now. I remember there being more, so I'm guessing there's some stuff there later, but I thought this was a good opportunity to do a couple of things. One, to demonstrate that holding down, well, I can't really demonstrate, but holding down Start Select, R1, L1, R2, L2 in the PC version doesn't do squat. Normally it would do a soft reset. If you want to do that in the PC port, and I don't think the game ever tells you this, hold down Control and R for a second. Sometimes it'll take you right back here. Other times it'll load you into the opening cinematic thing. And I don't even think I'm going to cut that out because there wasn't very much time. If you really want to get spoiled, you can pause the video and find out other characters that I had on other save files. That's up to you. Okay, I looked it up. Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl is apparently how you're supposed to pronounce the name of the GF that we got in the previous episode. The best you're getting from me is Quetzalcoatl, or Quetzal... Yeah, it's Ramuh's replacement. It's a thunder summon. It's based out of... Oh, geez, now I don't remember. I believe it was some sort of a South American mythology. I'm not 100% sure which one it was. Here we get some cure. And I'll explain what we're actually drawing in a bit here. Now, when you play this game on your own, you'll notice up in the top left, it'll continuously say things like, achievements synchronized with the server. And I've cut that part out of the video. It shouldn't ever show up because it appears on the overscan black section of the video. But yeah, so that's there if you're wondering why it's there and you're playing the PC port. I can't find a way to make it go away. In order to play this, I think you have to connect to one of Square's servers or something stupid. But anyway, we're supposed to meet you here. The GF gives us strength. The stronger the GF, the stronger we become. Here's a brief explanation. As soon as they say something about an explanation, hold the cancel button. And don't let go until it cancels you out of the stupid tutorials, because they're long, not very well explained, and I haven't actually looked at one in years because, well, if you want better explanations about how the gameplay works, I'm going to do my own tutorial video. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be, but we're going to go through it once we get access to a few different things so that I can, demonstrate this, that, and the other thing. Use the draw command to stock magic, and yeah, blah, blah, blah. We're going to the Fire Cavern. I'm going over a lot of these details in a relatively quick manner because, like I said, I'm going to do my own explanation about how this works. So, Quetzalcoatl, which is probably how I'm going to pronounce it throughout most of the game, just because I'm used to that pronunciation, we're going to put there. And then we're going to put draw, magic, and item on you. And that's pretty much all we need to do for that. I will get into weapons, equiption, what we draw momentarily here. Next thing we're going to do... I forgot to do this again. So config. First things first, memory. You want this set to memory for the entire game. I'm not kidding. Rarely do I do this. This is another one of those games, I believe 10.2 was like that as well, but one of those games where you just have to have it set to memory because otherwise you're moving the cursor way more than you really need to. So, anyway, there's that. Yeah, that's pretty much good to go there. Now, there are some enemies that we can find around here. One of them seems to encounter more often by the mountains, but I believe it can be encountered anywhere. If you walk along the path here, that being the roadway, you will never run into a battle unless you run off of it. I would use the directional button and then the shoulder buttons, L1 and R1, to control moving on that as opposed to the joystick, because the joystick doesn't work very well. If you try and move with the joystick, you're just kind of all over the map because it just doesn't pick up your motions very well and you're likely to walk off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the beach. Let's go to the beach. We're going to encounter one battle here, and we're going to demonstrate a little bit about how this game works. First thing you want to do, as soon as we get our option here and we're going to select something, press the L1 button. It's going to bring up a targeting menu, which is going to make it a lot easier to figure out who you're selecting. Since, as you can see here, these are called a fastation. It's called a stupid fish. You'll see in a minute. But basically, in order to change what you're doing here, we need to press up and down to switch targets, even though logic would dictate you would press left and right, but instead what that does is it targets you. How many times have I attacked myself? I don't want to admit. Now, we haven't gotten the tutorial from Keistis yet, but there will be a tutorial later on. Squall is unique with his weapon, and that is going to be explained when I get into another battle here. But for now, these enemies have two different forms. Here we can select drawing, which allows us to draw basically what equates to magic. So we're going to do a little bit of drawing, not a lot. But yeah, we're basically going to go here. We got some blizzard. We're going to draw this one, which should be sleep, which I don't need. Oops. And then we're going to draw this one, which I think I don't need as well. Okay, that's scan. Sure, I got a few scans, that's fine. And you're going to get a couple of those, and if Keistis didn't get some, then she's going to get some as well. And I'll explain why we have to draw what looks like spells in a moment. If you ever need to run away, when you're playing on the original version, press L2 and R2, and you can run away. There is a bit of an issue if you happen to be on a command or like sitting on attack like that. For some reason, it doesn't want to let you. Sometimes all you have to do after that is just simply send one of your characters to attack, and then you'll successfully be able to run away. That's up to you. The other enemy I want to run into real quick, hopefully will be up here, and then we can move on. That's the one I'm looking for. Actually, I think I was looking for you to get blizzard spells. Yep, pretty much that. Make sure you have some. And you have some. Not that I need a lot of them, but we don't need to face the enemies here. And we ran away. If I needed to do the extra action, I would have. There should be one more fight that I'll show off just because it gives you the tutorial, and I'll be able to explain it then. and it's probably going to be this one because it's the most common enemy to encounter, is... Now, the way it works is most of the characters have a chance at critical. Squall, because he has a gunblade, yes, it's a gunblade, I don't know, he has the option to pull the trigger. Basically, you just need to time it when he shows up, when the enemy shows up, and do I need any of that? I don't need any of that. Let's get out of here. I'm running away for a specific reason. I'll get into details on that later. But yeah, so the idea is that you press R1 at the specific timing. There's a bit of an audio cue. It's pretty much right as you're about to connect with your attack, and there's a little bit of an audio cue. You hit the trigger, and instead of doing double the damage, which a critical would do, which Squall cannot achieve a critical on his own, he gets to use the trigger feature, which gives him 1.5 times his normal damage. But he can do that pretty much guaranteed every time because it's extremely easy to do. Alright, so you didn't get any cure spells. You don't have very many cure spells. I'm going to need more cure spells. But yeah, the idea here is we actually have spell charges as opposed to, oh, you've got a materia or you just know the spell and you can use it as long as you have MP. There's no MP in this game. So instead of that, we get spell charges. Haven't they not done this since like Final Fantasy II? I think 2 had charges, didn't it? Anyway, next, I'm going to save. Okay, and the reason we're going to save is because I need to go over something that's also buggy in the PC port of this game. Again, tutorial time, hold down cancel button, and we get out of there without a problem. Again, I will go over everything. I've got a big tutorial. I've got over a page and a half of notes in my tutorial, video. I already know we don't need you to explain how things work. I can do that just fine. It'll not take that long for that particular note. Anyway, here is the Fire Cavern. Obtain a low-level GF, and yeah, we're ready, in a sense. We will be reloading shortly after going in here. I just need to demonstrate a couple of things first. We have our support, and yeah. Select a time limit suited to your abilities. Now, there's a number of things that'll influence our grades at some point. Later on, we'll be able to get rewards based on what our grades are. It's not a permanent thing. It doesn't matter if you screw all of this up or not. But in this particular one, we need to accomplish the mission with a very small amount of time remaining. So your best option is the 10-minute selection. You can pick the other ones and have the same amount of time remaining and you'll get the same result, but, it is what it is. So here we go. We're going to go into this area. Press the pause button. Notice the timer, 9:52. We've been sitting here and talking for a second. Unpause, and it drops substantially. For some reason in the PC version, I don't recall this ever happening in the PlayStation version, though I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure on that. It just doesn't work. The pause feature does nothing. Now, the interesting thing here, because it's on PC, if I select my desktop, the music keeps playing because I believe this is due to the fact that I'm using the Roses and Wine mod, meaning that it's playing the OGG file instead of the built-in MIDI files for the game. But the thing is, that actually works as a pause feature. So, yeah, both of those kind of work. In the PlayStation version of the game, you could, in order to get the best result, you could go in, finish the mission, and then wait on a specific screen until the timer would have reached 0, even if it hadn't reached 0 at the end of this mission. Well, in this version, it underflows or glitches out somehow, and you'll get 0 points instead of the 100 points that you would get for doing the exact same thing in the PlayStation version. So we need to go do, we need to actually time this out properly. Okay, we're back. And yes, we're going to have to go through this again, but again, just hold the button and you skip it all over again. I just want to make sure that I do this all kind of in one go, just to hopefully make this work. I tried getting this timing thing to work in my test run, and I failed 3 or 4 times. It doesn't want to work very well on the PC port. Anyway, now that we're here, we want to go into the GF section. And here we can basically tell our GFs to learn certain abilities. Some of them, like these, will allow us to junction a magic spell and increase the stat, in this case HP or vitality. Some of them will give us new abilities, such as Card. Some of them will increase our stats, such as Magic plus 20%. Some affect our GF's abilities, his strength, or HP. Some will give the GF an ability, and some will give us the ability to refine magic from items. There's a number of these that are very important. Card. Learn it. Now. You really want to learn Card. First and foremost, it's the most important ability you're going to get early on in the game. And for Shiva, we want to learn Ice Magic Refine. Many people will recommend working on Strength Junction first. This is not one of my typical LPs. I'm still going for as complete as I possibly can. Within reason. This game's kind of ridiculous when it comes to trying to get every single item. Trying to find all the treasures is one thing. That I can do. Trying to, get one of every single item in the game? Hell no. There is way too much customizing and just way too much farming if you want to do stuff like that. This is going to be an interesting run. I plan on absolutely destroying this game. But not right away. We want to stay low leveled for a little bit. And basically, I'm going to incorporate a number of different aspects into this playthrough that actually... Yeah, let's put something here. See, if you put a magic spell here, based on the number and the spell that it is, it might raise the stat. So there's a little bit of that. Your spirit doesn't matter at all. But yeah, we're going to show off different aspects to this game. Both the ability to kind of stay low leveled, which is beneficial in this game, as well as how to completely annihilate this game. We're getting Ultimate Weapons, well, this was a 4-disc game back in the day. We're getting it on disc 1. Oh yeah, we're gonna destroy this game. You don't need to do that. It's not that hard of a game. But yeah, we're gonna do it because I think it's the most interesting way to approach this game. Normally I try and stay mostly around a reasonable level that people would get without too much grinding, but, allowing for some amount of grinding so that it's not as difficult as it could possibly be. So yeah, that's my basic plan for how things are gonna go. Alright, let us move forward. I'm going to kind of skim through a bit of the dialogue here. Just because we don't have the most amount of time in the world. My charm makes them nervous. Well, that's because they're all anime characters and they look at a pretty woman and they go, oh god, I can't do anything, I'm going to have a bloody nose. Man, I've watched too much anime lately. When you're getting over a back injury and you can do very little but sit and watch, movies get boring after a while and you end up... I'm out of here. I don't need to... Actually, you know what? I do want to fight these guys. What am I doing? So the enemies in here you want to fight, and the reason you want to fight the enemies in here, at least the bats, is because the bats give crap for experience, and we want to stay as low leveled as we can. However, they do give a decent amount of AP. 2 of them, in fact. There's one other enemy in here that we will fight, and one enemy in here that we won't fight. Over here is a draw point. We're going to draw some fire spells for somebody, it doesn't matter. Now, I might fight a couple of battles before we move on, But, yeah, so here's a battle. Normally, I wouldn't want to fight the bombs, but there's an interesting ability that you can kind of figure out in terms of experience and AP. If you kill one enemy and then flee, you get that experience for your characters. Your GFs will also level up. They gain the same amount of experience you do, unless you have more than one of them junctioned to the same character, in which case they'll split those in half. Yeah, the bombs give too much experience for me, so I don't want to do that. But yeah, we still get the AP item drops and experience, which the GFs need, that we would have got if we had just killed them normally. And I'm actually running into a decent amount of battles here. Cool. The Buell is the other enemy that we can fight. It doesn't give that much as far as experience goes. The other spell there that you can draw from this guy, if you're interested, is Thunder. We don't really need that yet, so I'm not worried. I do have my my time or my ATB set to wait mode as opposed to active. Just gives me a little more time to control things and set up, and I never know where I put items or spells or anything like that. The Buell doesn't have a lot of HP and doesn't give a lot of experience, so we can go ahead and kill him as well. Yeah, very small amounts of experience, which is what we want paired with the AP, because we need the AP, but we don't really need the... I drew a couple of cure spells off screen, by the way. But we don't need the experience right now. Alright, now... It's interesting, one aspect of this game is that if a GF is learning an ability and it gains too much AP, like say it had 35 and it gained 20 in a fight, you only get those 5, you don't get the other ones. So before any boss fight, you always have to double check your abilities so that you don't waste any AP. Upcoming, we're going to get 20 AP. Oops, hold up. Junction... You're set to that. Perfect. Actually, that's not what I was looking for. Yes. Okay, good. Are we ready? Yeah, we should be pretty good here. I should have put magic on Squall instead of item, but that's not a big deal. We do want to demonstrate something here because we got additional lines of dialogue. First of all, cast your blizzard spells against him, and then summon Shiva. Now, summoning in this game is a little bit different from pretty much any other Final Fantasy. You still have a charge time, but the character actually shows up on screen and will take damage in place of you. Now, one thing I've never really understood. Shiva is always the ice summon. You think she would want to wear more clothes. It's gotta get cold not wearing any clothes and being surrounded by ice all the time. But anyway, you better enjoy that because that's probably the only summoning of a GF I will do in the entire game. There's no need to do it. It really doesn't matter. Now, what we're going to do next is Squall's going to attack, and you are going to cast Blizzard. Because the attack animation is fast enough that even with the little bit less damage, it makes more sense to do his normal attack based on the amount of time that we have on our clock here. I'll do one more Blizzard spell, and then I'm going to... let's see here. We need to cast the Scan spell to figure out how much HP he has left. He starts with over 1,000. I think it's 1,048. And Magic and Scan. And you can use a potion on yourself. I don't care. Alright. Now, how much HP do you have left? 513. Okay, it was 1,068. So we need to lower him down, but we don't want to kill him quite right away if we want to get the best reward based on the amount of time we have left on the clock. So, Blizzard. So I got 513. Minus 120, which gives me approximately... we'll just cast the spell again. I'm terrible at this. Trying to count, do commentary, keep track of my notes, and play the video game with a timer. I'm not very good at all these things combined. Let's see. We'll throw another scan on there real quick. Let's see here. 265. In order to get out of that, just press your confirm button, which in my case is the X button. So we got 200 HP left. And now we have, what, 130? Okay, so Quistis is going to cast the Cure spell on Squall, because Squall can't die. And Squall's going to do an attack here. I'm not going to hit the trigger. You'll notice the sound was different here. And we're going to throw one more scan out, just to be sure that I have him at the amount of HP I want him to have. Should be like under 40? I can hit him one more time with Squall. The weak attack there. The one thing with Squall that's nice, because you control his critical, is you never have to worry about him criticaling at a bad time and, you know, killing something. Alright, if you run out of cure spells, you can actually draw the cure spell from this guy. If you so desire, you can draw. He has the fire, cure, and scan spells, basically allowing you to do whatever you needed to do. We're going to cast that on you. You can draw and stock, as I've shown before, or you can draw and cast, casting it directly. So you won't accumulate any, but you'll get the effect of it off in one round. Now we're just going to wait. And we want to wait till approximately 20 seconds are left on the timer. And then we want Squall to finish this guy off. I've lowered him down. He should have about 30 HP left. Squall should, actually he's got like 20 HP left. And then Squall should be able to just finish him off. And then I should get the result that I'm looking for. Hopefully. The only downside is that it's not always going to work out that way. So that finishes him off there. And he's going to join us. Now, in the PlayStation version, it stopped already. Just spam through all of this really quickly. And then press start and confirm pretty much right away. And if I've done everything right, then I should have gotten the result that I'm looking for. Here's an explanation. Hold cancel. Bye-bye. No more tutorials, please. Next thing we want to do is we want to grab the GF there, and we actually want to remove Shiva from you. We want to put Ifrit in its place. I will explain why momentarily. We don't need the GF ability, so we can have draw, magic, and item, which is pretty much what I want my character set up on early on in the game. And hey, it raises my stat by 1. So we'll put it on there, why not? And then we want to put Shiva over here. Now the reason I want to do this is I want to gain more experience with Ifrit. And if you have 2 GFs junctioned to the same character, they split the amount of experience. The GF will gain the same amount of experience as the character if there is only 1 on each character. But if there are 2, it splits among them. Same if there's 3. You'll divide by 3 instead of dividing by 2. So now that I've done that, we need to go into GFs, we need to select Ifrit, and we need to work on something with Ifrit, which for me, if I remember correctly, I have it noted. Aha, we're going to do strength plus 20%. Now, there's other things I can work on, but I want to show as many different aspects of this game as I pretty much as I can. So if you want to do the early grind and then tackle a certain optional enemy, which I will show, this is what I would recommend doing here. But I'm also going to show how to do it and still stay at a low level. So now that we've got that, we'll check what we're learning over here, and we'll check what we're learning here. Now, what I want to do is, as I'm running out of this area, I want to fight a number of battles until I learn the card ability. So I'm just going to fight everything that's not bombs until I get up, on my way out. And when we start up the next episode, we will have a card learned, and we'll be able to move on. Bombs, I don't really need to fight bombs. They just give too much experience. I can't remember how much they give off the top of my head. It's too much considering the other enemies in here, so I just run away from them. Now, again, you don't have to do all that I am doing in this LP. This is more to show how many different aspects of this game I can show off and talk about as I can. If you just want to play the game, just play the game. It doesn't require the amount of extra work I've put into it. But, I don't know. For me, it's fun to be able to see what I can do with this game. And considering it has one of the most broken battle systems in all of video games, I sure as hell want to show how to break it. But anyway, that's pretty much all for today. Next time, we will meet you just on the other side of this screen here, and we'll be able to move on with the game. That's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.